Here's KATC meteorologist Daniel Phillips.
All right, everyone, we're going to do everything tropics. We're going to take a look at two different models just to show that while there was an eastern shift in one of them, that has not played out in the other one yet. We are still very much in the middle of this thing and still a lot of uncertainty. You got a long area of low pressure here that's all disturbed. Now, maybe consolidating up towards the north. It certainly looked like that, but here over the last hour or so, you're starting to see a flare up on the southern part. This is going to have a huge impact on where this storm ends up going. So we are not really going to see these models settle down until the hurricane hunters get in there, try and figure out where this thing is kind of coming together. They are going to fly that at about 11 o'clock today. So hopefully by the afternoon we have a much better idea. That afternoon suite of model data is probably going to be some of the most valuable that we have had so far. In the meantime, all we can do is take a look at the data that we have. Now, that northern stretch right there, I think the GFS has actually picked up on that a little bit, and that's where it's starting to initialize that storm. So it brings it up into the Gulf of Mexico, a little further to the east now compared to where it was earlier, and that brings it up towards Plaquemines Parish. Landfall maybe as a Category 3 storm out close towards Grand Isle. Winds about 111 sustained. Wind gusts probably a little closer to 110, 120 up straight through almost New Orleans, kind of brings it up through the New Orleans area, the western part of Lake Pontchartrain, and then on into the river parishes, Tangipahoa Parish, so on and so forth. Hits the brakes once it hits land, though, and then moves much slower up towards Jackson, Mississippi. If that's the case, that could bring about 10, 15 inches worth of rainfall from New Orleans areas to the east. For us, that gradient of impacts lessens tremendously and very quickly as it goes towards the west. That would actually pull us out of most of the impacts if that's the case. However, like I said, these models are going to change back and forth. We've already seen the GFS switch 4 times in the last 24 hours from west to east, back west, now back east. So when we get to lunchtime, we'll get the next round and we'll see if that trend continues. Great. But be prepared for it to kind of go back towards the west. The European model is sliding westwards, and you can see it's got the low a little further towards the south. It still doesn't know where to start this thing. Neither does the GFS. That's why the hurricane hunters are so important. And because it's got that low initializing a little further to the south, this model brings it up a little further to the west. Slightly slower moving as well, where you're looking at a landfall in Plaquemines out on early Sunday morning. This wouldn't be until Monday morning, right up along the Vermilion Bay. And then that pulls all the impacts. That 10, 15-inch rainfall, that brings it into Acadiana, all those winds, with winds here probably gusting close to about 120, sustained close to about 110, and be my guess, close to Category 3, if not Category 3, and then that brings it up through Acadiana. That's the Euro. So that's kind of the spread that we're looking at. That's why we can't take one look at the GFS and just say, great, we're out of the woods. But on the other hand, it doesn't necessarily mean that you follow the Euro and it's all doom and gloom from here on out. We're going through the forecast process. We recognize that there was something going on. We were getting a little bit of consistency. And now we're kind of in between because it's taken so long for the storm to develop. We're kind of in between this, watching trends fades and a better understanding of the path. I think we've narrowed it down now to south central Louisiana, southeast Louisiana. Unfortunately, those are